All right, so I'm waiting for some people to log in first so I can start. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, leave a comment. Hello, everyone. Hi, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So if you can hear, I'm guessing you can hear, of course. Okay. So what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna start right now. What I'm gonna do today is that I'm gonna talk about some of the things that I went through when I started my photography business from the very beginning, and give you some tips that anyone starting their own business or being a creative, so it's not only for photographers, can benefit from this. Okay. If you have any questions in the meantime, be sure to put up on the comment box below, and I can see the questions as you write them, not as you write them, but as you post them, so I can reply to them and see how can I help you. If you're not hearing well, let me know, because I have no idea if you're hearing what I'm saying. But anyway, I'm gonna start. So thank you very much for being there. And so one of the first things that I did when I got to Brussels, if you don't know my story, I got to Brussels more than 6 years ago, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody here in Brussels. So what I did was that I contacted some photographers that were already in Brussels, and I told them like, hey, I'm going to Brussels and I would like to meet you and see what you do as a photographer, and see if we can, meet and talk about your experience as a photographer in Brussels. And so I contacted around 10 different people, and some replied, some didn't reply, and some ignore me, and some actually were very interested in meeting me. So they told me, okay, let's meet, let's have a conversation. So I had a conversation with them. I met with a couple of these photographers, and without asking them to be how to say trying to work for them or anything, they offered me eventually, not during the meeting, but they offered me eventually if I wanted to be an assistant for them. And that was fantastic. That was fantastic because I didn't have a lot of experience professionally taking photos for other people. So having the opportunity to be next to professional photographers already established in Brussels really helped me, especially at the beginning. So that was great, meeting these photographers. So if you're starting a business, contact local photographers that already have experience in the field, and try to meet with them and talk to them and see what can come out of there. It can be maybe some collaborations or something like that. You never know, but if you don't contact them, you might be missing some good opportunities. So that's one. Then I did have some photos, but I didn't have a lot of photos that I could sell. I could give as professional, as in they were not very professional. They were not ready for clients. However, that didn't stop me from starting a website and setting up a portfolio with my best photos that I had at that time. So even though I had a lot of random shots, travel photos, and street photography, I put everything. I put everything that I could on my portfolio. It was not very well defined, but at least to have an idea, to give an idea to people that I was taking photos seriously. Okay, so not having the right photos didn't stop me from getting a website and setting up already a portfolio that people could come and check what I was doing and what were my skills. Okay, and for people to contact me. So that was very important. If you started your photography business and you have no photos to sell or to give professionally, it doesn't matter. Just start with what you have, and then little by little you will improve it, okay, as you go. Then something about gear, because I think many people worry about having the right gear to take photos when you're starting. I don't think it's very important to have the most amazing cameras and the best lenses and whatever. I don't think it's very important. What you need to have is just enough for you to get into assignments and start taking photos professionally. Okay, in my case, I wanted to take photos for events. I was very interested in events, and I was also interested in portraiture. And the camera that I had was enough for me to start taking photos and not, have this amazing professional cameras that nowadays are sold out there for thousands and thousands of euros or dollars. A basic equipment should be enough to already, get you going and start taking photos. And why not? Even with a smartphone, you can already start taking some good photos today. So that shouldn't really stop you. So just start taking photos with what you have, and then little by little, as your business improves, you can start changing your gear. So that's at the beginning. And then something else that really helped me was that I was learning a lot about photography at the beginning. So I was not wasting my time in, I don't know, things that were not relevant, but I wanted to spend as much as possible of my time checking how I could improve my technique and how could I improve handling my own camera and the technical aspects of my camera. I think that's very important. If you don't know how to handle your camera, you're gonna have trouble when you have assignments for clients, okay? Because every assignment is different and situations might be different all the time. Unless you're doing maybe a portrait photography with artificial lighting, the chances that all the situations change is very big. So it's better that you're prepared to handle your camera as much as possible. Okay, so know the basics of your camera, what aperture means, what exposure means, what the ISO means, and those three things are the basic stuff, and then the rest. It's important to know, but those three things are really important, okay? And handle your camera very quickly. So how to change the shutter speed in a very quick way, how to change the aperture in a quick way, that's very important because it might come handy, okay? So as I moved along with my business, I realized that I'm gonna divide now the talk in several topics, and I'm gonna go first by learning. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible, so if you're watching this later, it doesn't take a lot of time for you to go through the whole talk right now. When I started, as I said before, learning was very important, and learning is not only about learning new techniques and how to handle your camera, but also know how to use editing software, okay? So I started using Lightroom at the beginning and then Photoshop. Those are two very powerful tools that you should know how to use when you're a photographer, a professional photographer. If you're selling your services as a photographer, you should know how to retouch your photos, even in a basic way, but you should know what it is: saturation, vibrance, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, the blacks. There are many things that you should know about retouching a photo, and I think you should become almost an expert in retouching. You're gonna encounter situations in which you need to retouch the impossible. I have had opportunities to learn how to take people out of a photo, for example, how to remove stuff from photos that you would not even imagine. So having the right skills to edit a photo properly is very important. And so to give you some motivation to work on Photoshop at a deeper level, I did a project that was called 52 Weeks, and it was a self-portrait project in which I took photos of myself every week in a very magical way, okay? So the point was to take photos of myself and retouch the photo on Photoshop, so I could learn how to use Photoshop in the right way. And because of this project, I learned how to use Photoshop, and now I'm not a master in Photoshop, but I know my way around to the point that pretty much everything I need to do in Photoshop I can do nowadays. Of course, you can also learn by watching tutorials online and seeing things that, if a client asks you a specific thing, then you can just look it up online. But I strongly recommend you to get good at Lightroom and Photoshop. They're very powerful tools that you can use nowadays. Okay, so that's one. Then another idea for you to learn how to take photos is to talk with local people that are maybe interested in doing collaborations with you. Okay, so if you're into portraiture, it's very easy to start contacting people, or go to forums where you can say like, hey, I'm a photographer and I'm learning how to take portraits, and I would like to have some models, and I can offer the sessions for free. So you get the photos for free, and I get the portraits for myself or my portfolio also for free. So you establish a collaboration between these models and yourself, so you can practice taking portraits, which is very important also for your portfolio if you're into portraiture, of course. Otherwise, you can talk with some friends and stuff, but sometimes talking with friends can be limiting. And I really challenge you. I think it's a very good idea to encounter people that you have never met and take photos of them that look very nice, because you're gonna have to meet people that you don't know and take good photos of them. So when you overcome this fear of meeting people for the first time and taking photos of them, that's going to really shape you and help you in the future when you start taking portraits. So it's very good on the personal aspect. So collaborations to take portraits is very good, and it really helped me when I started my photography business. Something else that I did was that I there's this example of Slash, the guitar player from Guns N' Roses, that I actually enjoy very much. That apparently when he was young and he was playing the guitar, he used to play the guitar apparently every day about 12 hours a day. I don't know if it's true, but it doesn't really matter. The metaphor of the story is that he practiced every day for hours and hours and hours. And no wonder, look at how the guy plays right now. It's fantastic. So my point is that if you want to be a photographer, then you need to take photos, and you need to do it on a daily basis if possible. So what I did when I started my photography business was that I literally forced myself to take photos every single day. So to do that, I created a project. So I would have the excuse to go out every day. And the project was about taking portraits of strangers. And this project I called Faces and Photography. If you go to my website, you can see some photos of this project. And with this project, I managed to take photos of 1,400, so 1,400 people in Brussels that I met on the streets. So I would stop random people on the streets and I would say like, hey, I would like to take a photo of you. I really like how you look. Do you mind if I take a photo? And most of them would say yes. Very few people said no, but it doesn't matter. You have to respect what they say. But I managed to take a lot of portraits. And because of that, I managed to go out on the streets every day and kind of like refine my eye. Because at the same time, when I was taking those photos, I was doing street photography. So I was, catching fleeting moments on the streets until I would find somebody and I would take a portrait of them and I would ask for that portrait. So that really helped me also dealing with people that I don't know, and overcoming that fear of talking to people that you don't know. So that's a very good practice. So establish a project if you can, to go out in the streets and take photos. It's a very good technique that I used, and it really helped me. Again, about learning, the gear that you use is not really important. I don't consider it very important. But of course, as you improve in your photography, you might realize, actually, I would need maybe a lens that is a wider lens, or a lens that would allow me to, zoom a bit more. So a zoom lens or whatever, or get a full frame camera or get a mirrorless camera. But really, the gear, I don't think it's really important. However, as you can, and you improve in your technique and start getting new clients and new assignments, maybe it's a good idea to improve your gear and go with it. Okay, so that was very quick with the learning. Now I wanted to talk about networking and connections. I already said some things about networking and connections, but I'm gonna say a couple things about it as well. So one of the things that I did at the beginning to get new connections and start taking photos and shaping my portfolio was contacting local no-profit associations and offering them my photography skills, so they could use my photos to raise awareness and I could help their cause. Okay, so it was a win-win situation in which I would get the chance to take photos for these associations for free, and I would get photos for my portfolio, and they would get the photos for free also. So I was like a volunteer, and they could use these photos to promote what they were doing and raise even more awareness about their cause. So I was very clear to them, and I was telling them, hey, I'm new in the city and I would like to help you because I really love what you guys are doing. Do you mind if I help you and I offer you my photography skills as a volunteer, so I can shape also my portfolio and improve my techniques? And they were very open with me, and they allow me to take photos for them. And indeed, until now, I still work with one of the organizations established here in Brussels, which is Missing Children Europe, and I love working with them. And I always offer them my help with my photography, and I'm very happy to support them with my photography. So I also created a long-term relationship with this organization, which at the end, even if I didn't ask, they promote my work as well. They share many photos that I have taken, and they also communicate to other organizations my name as a photographer. So I've gotten contacts through them to make paid assignments. So it's not a bad idea to approach local no-profit organizations that you really, really like and you want to support, to take photos for them. Of course, not always do free stuff, because that's not the point. You also are doing a business. But stick to one or two organizations that you like, and see what can happen from there. Many opportunities can happen, and it should also give you a sense of fulfillment, that you're helping organizations with your photos and your time and your energy and your skills. Okay, moving on with that. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Put yourself there out it can be via social media or through your website. I've realized that the more I put myself out there, like I'm doing right now, the better opportunities I get. And it might be a bit of how to say, you might feel ashamed or embarrassed about doing this kind of stuff, but believe me, once you start doing promoting your work, it helps. It comes naturally, and you start getting more connections because of this. Okay. The connections will come with time. It's not easy to promote yourself. I know that. I'm making having an established network doesn't come easy, but it happens. It happens with time. So be patient, and it will come. So regarding to that, making connections and networking, something that I wanted to talk about, of course, is marketing. How do you sell yourself? How can you, starting a business, actually put yourself out there so people know what you're doing? Well, actually, there are many techniques that you can do. And the first one that I did at the very beginning when I started was really, as I said before, putting up a website. You need to have a website. You cannot be a photographer and not have a website. You cannot be a professional photographer and have a lousy website. You need to take the time to develop a nice website that really displays your photos in a nice way with quality, that you show very good photos in your portfolio, that is clear how to get in touch with you. What type of photography are you capable of doing? Where are you located? Maybe not your fees or anything like that. Those are more specifics that you can discuss with the potential client. But really, a website needs to speak what you do as a photographer, as a professional, and as a creative. So give yourself also some room to show your personal work if you have as a photographer. Like I show my street photography on my website. And that actually helps clients understand what is my style, that I like taking photos on the street, and they recognize that my style is very much going with the flow, and that I like catching the moments, the fleeting moments, without necessarily annoying people. So showing your personal work helps your clients understand that you do also this for passion, okay? And I wanted to talk about passion as well. Your marketing, it becomes easier when you do this with passion, okay? So you're selling your passion out there, you're putting yourself out there because you love taking photos, because you love doing what you do. If it's music, if it's drawing, if it's sculpture, whatever it is, when you show that love that you have for the craft, your clients are gonna see it, it's gonna be obvious. that you're spreading this love out of what you do. So it might become easier, okay, to get clients. Another way to promote yourself is through listings. And nowadays there's plenty of listings for photography, but also for other crafts. So, even if you're a plumber or you paint houses or you're a gardener or whatever, it's very easy to get into listings nowadays, and put yourself there. Okay, so if you don't have a website, again, you should have a website. But if you don't have a website, you could use listings to promote your work. I don't necessarily do listings because I think my website is represents way more than a listing, and it shows way more of what I do. And also my clients, the type of clients that I'm looking for, don't necessarily go to listings, I think. However, I'm gonna start digging into listings to see if I can expand my marketing and my reach. So we will see. Anyway, listings is a very good way also to expand your network, okay? Something that you should know when you have a website is how to work on your search engine optimization, which is the SEO, okay? SEO is very important because it's what it allows your website to be high on search engines, okay? So when somebody Googles or Bings or Yahoo's photographer in the city where you're at or event photographer or portrait photographer your website should come first. And you do this through SEO, okay? So when you work on your SEO, on your search engine optimization, you can guarantee, quote unquote, that you're gonna appear first on the search results. And that's the first filter, because if you're not there on the first page, people are not they're most probably not gonna go to the second, third page to look for you. And so that's the first filter. If you're not up there, you're already losing a huge chunk of traffic to your website, okay? So it's very important that you know how to use search engine optimization. And even if you're an artist, a creator, or whatever you're doing with your business, you need to know how to do SEO so you appear really high on the search results. Of course, it's not only about appearing there, because you can appear, but then they also need to go to your website and they need to like what they see. So that's why dedicating time to having a good quality website is so important, guys. You have no idea how important it is. So take also the time to develop your website so it's friendly, so it's easy to navigate, so it represents quality, and it should happen. It should happen, okay? You should start getting leads, you should start getting people contacting you. And that's how I started getting leads at the beginning. I didn't know anybody, I didn't have a lot of network. And as I was building it little by little, I was new in the city. And by having a good SEO and a good structure on my website, I managed to start getting leads through my website, okay? Because I was appearing first on the search results. And I spent a lot of my time actually nowadays still working on my SEO. So it's not a thing that you do once and that's it. It doesn't work like that. SEO needs constant work. It's like social media, which is something that I also wanted to talk about. So marketing also depends a lot on social media. And we know nowadays that we have Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn, you name it. There's many things that you could use to promote your own website. Even Google has business Google, and you can connect your business to Google and start posting on Google. It's insane. There are many things that you can do. It takes me a lot of time, but it's really worth it. Okay, and nowadays, depending on the type of photography that you're doing, I really strongly recommend you to go to LinkedIn, because it's a very powerful social media tool that it's booming right now. I don't know why I didn't know this before, but I recently started with LinkedIn like 6 months ago, and I can really see the results already. And you can really build a nice connection there, and I have gotten already leads from LinkedIn. So I strongly recommend you to dedicate more time on LinkedIn if you're into photography for corporate stuff like I do, like events, but also for portraiture, okay? You can connect with a lot of small business owners or even good big organizations that need portraits for their company staff. Well, that's a good way to get potential leads through LinkedIn, okay? One other thing that you can do through to improve your marketing is see what other photographers are doing. So if you look on Google, I don't know, photographers in Brussels, who is coming out first on the search results? And what are they doing? Do they have Instagram? Do they share stuff on social media? Do they have a blog? Do they share stuff on LinkedIn? Are they doing Instagram live? What are they doing? So you can learn out of what they're doing and try to replicate what they're doing. So you can also improve your marketing. Okay, so that's very important. One other thing that I wanted to talk about is defining a target audience. I made a post on my website recently about target audience and how important that is. Because 2 years ago, I defined very clearly what my target audience was. And I can tell you guys that it really improved my business. Before defining a target audience, I would get leads for a bunch of stuff that I wasn't really interested in. I would get weddings, I would get products, I would get family shots, I would get baby shots, I would get interior design, I would get everything, you name it, a lot of photography stuff. And it was okay because, my business was not very well developed. But then I realized that, if I want to work in my photography business and I want to do it in the right way and I want to do certain specific types of shootings, then I need to remove all this mess out of my website. So the first thing that I did was defining my target audience and understanding what was the typical ideal client that I wanted to have for my business. And I deleted everything else from my strategy. Okay, so everything that was wedding, babies, family, blah, 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 I removed completely. And I concentrated only in events, corporate stuff, conferences, and portraiture. Okay, so with these 4 stuff, that's what I have on my website. If you go now to my website, you will see that that's what I offer. That's everything I offer. Sometimes I get leads about, other stuff. People asking me, can you do this? Can you do that? And maybe I say yes, depending on how interested the project is. But mainly, I do those 4 things, and I get leads about that because when people go to my website, they see that that's what I do and that's what I sell on my website. So that's what I get, and that's what I want to get. So it's fantastic. So that means that I work more on what I want, and I get more clients that are doing what I want. Okay, and which will contact me again in the future, and I improve my portfolio. So now my portfolio is even better because I work more on the things that I want to work. So my portfolio gets better and better and better. So work on your target audience and really understand what type of photography do you want to do. If you want to do products, then sell products. Sell photography for products. Don't sell weddings. Don't sell family. It doesn't make any sense. If you want to do events, then concentrate on events. If you want to go more specific of events like parties, like nightclub parties or corporate events, then concentrate on that. Don't be too messy on your portfolio and really tackle that. Your marketing is really going to improve when you define what you want to do, and that's a target audience. And one other thing that I wanted to say about the marketing is that it helps to have Google reviews. So if you have the chance of asking your former clients to give you a review, take the time to ask them, please, would you mind giving me a review on Google? It will really help my business and give an idea to potential new clients how I work and how it works doing business together. And that really helps. I don't have a lot of Google reviews, but I have 30 or so. And it really helps. I think it really helps potential new clients understand that I mean business. I'm serious and I'm doing this. It is my work and my passion. So with the testimonials, other clients can see that I'm the real deal, that I'm not joking around. This is the real deal. Okay, so take the time to ask your former clients to leave some reviews. They will be improved with time. You cannot get 30 reviews at once, but little by little, you will start building that up. And when people look for a photography in your area, they're going to see that you have reviews and it's going to really help you. Okay, so build on those reviews is very important. Okay, I've talked a lot. I'm gonna have a sip of water. Give me a second. And I'm gonna take this moment to say thank you to everyone who has joined since I started. I hope you're getting a lot of valuable information. And again, if you have any questions, just, there's a comment box down there. Go ahead, write stuff. I'm gonna be checking them, okay? I see here, I see a question here. Okay, let me see. Okay, so how do you get your first client? I don't know if you can see the question here, but I can see it. How do you get your first client? Let me sip and I'll reply to the question. My first client, I don't know if I should skip to my real first client because I had a bunch of random stuff at the beginning. But my real first client, I think, I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure how I got it. I'm not sure. Um, my first client. Okay, I'm not gonna block here. I can tell you that it wasn't fantastic. It was not fantastic. I don't remember how this person found me, but it was somebody that needed a video, a music video, and they needed a photographer. Ah, now I know. Okay, now I know. Good question. Okay, my first client I got through my Faces and Photography project. So I was going on the streets and I was asking people if I could take portraits of them. And because of that, I would, start a conversation every now and then. Some people would say, yes, I would take the photo, and they would go, and that's it. But some people were interested in what I was doing and they wanted to know more about me and whatever. So this person wanted to have like a business card. Also have business cards with you because people are going to ask you for your business card. Even if they don't use them, have them. So anyway, this person asked for my business card, and 5 days after, give it or take, he contacted me and he asked me if I wanted to do a video for him, and because he was doing a music video and he needed a videographer. And so I said, yes, cool, let's do it, let's do it, no problem. And that was like 2 months after I got to Brussels. So I did this music video. I did a music video at the very beginning of my photography career, professional career. And he paid. It was not a huge amount of money, but he paid. It wasn't for free, and that was my first paid job. It was 50 euros for a music video. I wouldn't accept something like that right now, but at the beginning when I started, that seemed to me to be fantastic, so I took it. Okay, so that was my first client. Thank you for the question. Okay, let's move forward. Now, business and numbers. I'm going to talk about business, having a business in general. It's when you start your photography business, it's okay that you want to consider yourself an artist and that you want to, feel that photography is the only thing that you want to think about. But if you're starting a business, you have a business to take care of, and that means that you need to understand money, and you need to understand many other aspects about leading a business. It's not just about taking photos, okay? It's not just about drawing. It's not about making videos. There's a business side to it, okay? So it's the creative aspect of the business, and then there's the business management aspect of your business. And I can tell you that in business, there are many things that I had to learn, sometimes in bad ways and sometimes in good ways, because I informed myself and I prevented problems. But at the beginning, because I didn't know many things, I lost money. I put money on the wrong things, and I need to tell you, you need to take care of your business. So this means if you can learn about entrepreneurial activities, learn about accountancy, learn about investing and how to use your money. It is important. You're having a business, okay? Again, the photography aspect is beautiful, but you also need to take care of your business. If you don't have the right pricing, if you don't know how to talk to your customers, if you don't know how to sell yourself, you're gonna have problems. You may have problems, okay? And your business might fail, and you might feel disappointed that things are not working in the way that you want it. Well, you need to take care of the other aspect as well, okay? So I'm gonna give you some tips of things that I did and I still do to keep my business in place and that everything is okay. Even nowadays with the coronavirus, I'm having some trouble, of course, like everybody. I'm not immune to the problems, but I can tell you, if I wouldn't know the things that I know, I would be in deep problem. Okay, so it's important to know how to handle your business. So one of the things that my mindset that I have on my business is that I need to treat people, I need to treat my clients like I would treat myself when I get a service, okay? So I try to put myself in their feet. So I try to really offer the best possible service that I can offer as a professional. I am a professional and I want to show that I am a professional. I am a creative, but I am a professional. And when people deal with me, they're dealing with a serious person that knows what they're doing. Okay, so I want to show that to my clients. I want to show that I respect them, and that I respect myself and my business. So respect yourself, have care for your business. Okay, so that means that when I go to shootings, I dress well. I dress in a nicer way. I take care of how I look. I have a nice language, a nice communication, a nice way to speak to them. I'm not there pretending that I am I don't know, a crazy dude. I mean, for me it's common sense, and maybe it's the way I was raised, but I really show that respect. I just show respect. Basically, I show respect, and that is important. Another thing is that if you're establishing a business, you need to take care of the legal aspects of your business. So what does it mean to have a business in your country, in the city where you are? What are the systems in place, the legal systems in place that allow you to have a business? Can you have a VAT number? Can you have a legal number? Can you have a company number? Can you set up a company? How do you set up a company? Do you need an accountant? Do you need a lawyer? Do you need to set up contracts? What do you need to do? So you need to take care of all these aspects, okay? And it is important that you take the time to understand how you can do all of that. In Belgium, there's a very nice system that allows artists to create a business from scratch and with guidance and everything. And it helps them creating their business, their artistic business. It's not easy. So there's systems in place here in Belgium. We're lucky. I'm very grateful that we have this kind of stuff. And I actually started with help. Somebody was helping me, and I used it. Okay, I used all the resources that they were giving me so I could plan better my business and build it up. And now I don't use them anymore because I moved forward, and I know there are other people using them, and I'm very happy that they still exist, and they're helping other artists create their creative business. It's very important. So take the time to understand what are the legal resources to start your business where you live. Okay, before I move to the next thing, I wanted to answer a question here. The biggest challenge, so the question is, what have been, in your own experience, the biggest challenge you ever deal? I know who it is. Hi. So, the biggest challenge, there are many challenges actually, but I think the biggest challenge is to stay motivated and keep going. And keep going with your business, because I feel frustrated sometimes that things are not going in the right way, or I think, I don't have the right motivation. I've thought about abandoning photography. I've thought about stopping with this business and doing something else, especially when times are hard and money is maybe not coming in the way that I wished. It becomes difficult. So I need to understand that things don't come easy, and it takes time to build up your business. It took a lot of time at the beginning, and now I have a business that is okay, that is going well. Even in these difficult times, I am okay. And it takes time. You need patience. You need patience to build this, and motivation. You need to motivate yourself by maybe absorbing the experience from other artists. So there are photographers that I follow and that I admire a lot, and these are photographers that have been in business for 30 or more years. 30 years. I'm 34, and these people have been in business for 34 or 40 years. That's insane. I find that insane. So when I see that, for me, it makes me feel like I am a kid that has 6 years old. I'm a 6-year-old. Okay, I just started my business 6-7 years ago, so I'm a 6-7-year-old person, and I still need to mature. I still need to grow. I still need to learn many things, and I will see later in life how it goes. Of course, again, if you're doing this, it's because you love it. If you're starting your creative business, it's because you love it, and you're gonna have difficult times. You're gonna have times in which you're gonna feel that the best thing to do is to abandon what you're doing, and hang in there. It's difficult, but you can move forward. You need to have the right mentality and motivation to move forward. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, or regarding photography and your business, is copyrights. Okay, copyrights. it's very important, at least here where I am, it's very important to sell your copyrights. And copyrights are basically the rights that you give your clients to use the images that you're selling them, okay? And why is that important? Because you need to allow them to use those images for certain purposes only, okay? If you give them images and you don't set limitations, or you don't set the what they can do with those photos, they might end up using those photos for the wrong purposes, okay? Or taking advantage of your photos and exploiting your photos in the wrong way. Okay, so copyrights is something that you really need to look into. And if you are going to do photography seriously, you need to understand what copyrights are. And this is not just photography. This is every artistic venture. This is music. This is paintings. This is drawings. This is graphics. This is everything. Everything has copyrights. So take the time to learn what are copyrights, how do they work, apply to your craft, and communicate that to your clients and sell them the copyrights. You can sell copyrights to your art. So I do that. I sell the copyright to my images, so my clients are safe and know how and when and where they can use the photos that I give them. So it's very important. Take the time to learn about copyrights as well. For pricing, you need to know how to price your shootings, okay? So you need to understand how much are you gonna price your clients. And a rule of thumbs is to try to understand what other photographers in your area or in your country are doing for the same services. And how can you know that? Well, as I said at the beginning, you need to partner up with local photographers. You need to contact other photographers and see how they sell themselves. And you don't have to put the same prices or be less than them or be way more than them. You can find what you feel is right for you, okay? So at the beginning, I started looking at what other photographers were doing, and also because I was assisting other photographers and they were telling me how much they were charging. And I knew I wasn't at their level, so I wasn't charging at their level. I was charging less because I didn't have the skills they had. So it gave me a base on what I could charge to my clients, and little by little I would increment those prices until a price that I would feel safe, and that I would feel that I'm offering the right value to my clients, the right price for the right value. So take the time also to understand your pricing, and again, maybe don't exaggerate the pricing to one side or the other. Don't mess too much with the pricing, charging too much, because then you might not even get clients. But then don't make it too little, because it might give the wrong impression. So take the time to understand about pricing. And then a couple of things that I wanted to say about using your money. You need to be careful with your expenses and how you use the money for your company, okay? So don't get too crazy about buying new gear. Again, gear can be a trick. So you might spend thousands of euros buying gear that you actually don't need, and you realize later in your career that didn't need that flash, you didn't need that lens, you didn't need that camera. So take the time to think about gear before you start buying any gear. And I like spending money. Literally, I like spending money on everything that will help giving the service to my clients. So there are many things that improve my service and how I give service to my clients. And one clear example that I have for you is how I deliver my photos to my clients. So I use WeTransfer. They don't pay me to say this to you right now. I have nothing with WeTransfer. I pay them to use the service, and it really helps me as a business delivering the photos to my clients. Okay, and it's a very professional way to give photos to my clients, and I pay that service very happily. Why? Because it improves my business, and like that, there are many other services that you can pay according to your business and your style. It might be a Squarespace to set up your website. It might be WordPress. It might be, who knows? There are many things that you can pay that can improve your service. So take the time to invest in your business. So learning learning and improving your technique. You can also pay some online courses. I've paid many online courses and workshops and to improve my photography and improve my relationship with clients and my services, my business. So take the time to invest in your business. Okay. I think that's it about business and numbers. I have a list here. That's why I'm looking at it. Okay, so I think this is getting to the end. It's getting long, so I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna give you some final advice. I'm gonna be very so we can finish. Okay. Then we maybe have some Q&A questions. I don't know if you have any questions. Maybe it's better if you put them now on the comment section, so I can discuss them when I finish with the final advice. Okay, so again, never stop learning. It's very important that you take the time to learn. So learning is very important. Take the time to improve by learning. And learning can be in many ways. It can be by practicing and reflecting on what you're doing. It can be by watching free tutorials online. It can be by paid tutorials online. It can be by going to workshops. It can be by meeting photographers in your area and talking to them and learning from them. It can be by Googling photographers in your area and seeing what do they do and what are their photos and their style, and trying to learn from them. And there are many things you can learn how to promote your website via SEO, so search engine optimization. Learn about entrepreneurship. There's many things you can learn. Okay. Then practice and practice. I said it. I just said it. You need to practice. You cannot be a creative if you don't practice. It's for me, it's common sense. If you don't take photos, you cannot be a photographer. You can pretend that you are a photographer, but if you take photos for clients, then you take photos for yourself as well. You take photos. If you draw for clients, then you draw for yourself. You need to practice. You need to keep the eyes sharp. Okay, so take the time to practice. Go out and do what you love. Okay, take the time to go out and do what you love. If you don't have the possibility to practice, then set aside some time in the week to do things for yourself. Okay, so you can practice and do personal projects. Don't do photography only for clients. Take the time to do your own stuff. Okay, that really helps. It helped me. And if you need extra motivation, make a project. It can be taking self-portraits. It can be going out on the streets and doing street photography. It can be doing product photography at home. It can be taking photos of your kids, whatever. But practice. Okay? Then for your gear, upgrade only when needed. So don't buy the best camera just because the best camera is out there. Just buy what you need. Buy what you really need. In 6 years, I have improved my gear twice. I started with the first camera that I had, and I didn't buy a special camera to start my business. I started with what I had, and I waited 2 years before buying my first professional camera. And then I started my let's say my path with the new camera, and I kept it for 2 more years before I bought a real professional camera. So now the camera that I have had it for 2 years now, and I'm not intending to change it for anything. But I didn't need the camera that I have at the beginning, also because I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the knowledge to even understand the camera to that extent. Now I understand the camera, and now I have I can use the camera to the full extent. But at the beginning, I didn't have even the need to have such a big camera and such a powerful tool in my hands. Start small with what you have, and then build it up from there. And then, as I said it several times already, love what you do. If you don't love what you do, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Do something else. There's no sense in doing something you don't love. So if you love music, if you love drawing, if you love sculpture, then you will do it with passion, and your clients are gonna see it. Same thing with photography. If you love photography, you will do it with passion, and your clients are gonna see it. Okay. Be organized. Be organized. It's very important. Again, this is not just an artistic thing. There's two sides to this. There's a creative side. This is what you do. This is what you create. This is your craft. And this is your business. This is your business. This is how your clients, this is the services that you give. This is how the money comes in and the money goes out. This is your accountancy. This is the taxes that you have to pay. This is the legal aspect. This is the contracts. They go together. They go together. This is like this. They have to be together. If you don't understand this, I'm not sure how you're gonna make it, to be honest. For me, it was super important. And the reason I can still do this, so the creative aspect, is because I know how to do this, the business aspect. I'm not an expert and I'm still learning, but I've managed to do this. So take the time to make them work, okay? One more thing. If you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, I'm gonna perhaps be doing more live sessions like this. Maybe to go into more details about something else, specific topics. But I'm also writing weekly on my website. I have a journal where I write tips and tricks for starting your creative business. Of course, I talk about photography because that's what I do. I just think you can apply many of these things to other stuff, okay? So if you want, go on my website. You can find the link on my bio, on my profile on Instagram. And you can see, you can go straight to my website. Anyway, on my website, I publish a lot of posts. Weekly, I'm posting something, and I'm making also a video right now. Talking about starting your photography business and the things that you can do to make your business thrive, okay? So again, I'm not I'm a professional photographer. That doesn't mean that I have, all the experience in the world, but I do have some experience and I'm happy to share that with you, okay? So hopefully this will bring you a lot of value. So if you want to have more knowledge and take the time to read and see what I have to say, go to my blog and you will see what I've written there, okay? I see new people joining that have joined. So hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. And I have some questions since I finished talking. I'm going to see what questions I have here. Okay. I have here, maybe you can see it. How do you get into be a photographer? Well, that's a personal question. I started taking photos when I was a kid. So when I was like 10 or 11, I'm not sure. I saw the camera that my dad had in the house. That was an analog camera, so with film and everything. And I saw that camera and I was extremely attracted to it and what you could do with it. Also because my dad had photos hanged in the house that I would see all the time. And they were very interesting to me. So my dad took some fascinating photos that when I was a kid, for me, it blew my mind. So every time I would see those photos, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And when I understood that you could do that with a camera, and I got the maturity to understand what a camera was, I asked my dad to teach me how to take photos. So my dad gave me the camera, and he told me very quickly, like, this does this, and this does that, and take photos and they will see the results. And so I did. So I started taking photos with the film camera. We bought some film and I started taking photos of random stuff. And I got the bug. That's how some photographers say. You get the bug of photography. And it's difficult to get it out. So I took photos for many years just for myself and friends and stuff like that. But when I moved to Belgium 6.5 years ago, I decided to give it a shot and start my photography business. And so I started, and here I am, a professional photographer in Brussels. All right, thank you for the question. Let's see another question here because I have several. Okay, I already talked about this, but okay, I'm gonna ask again. Hello, newcomers. So thank you for being here. So I'm guessing you can see the question here. So how do you know what prices to ask? I didn't know. So I contacted local photographers, basically. I contacted some photographers and I asked them how much do you charge? What are your prices, basically? and I used that as a rule of thumb, and I established my prices, below that, because I didn't have their skills or their knowledge or their experience. So I put my prices below that, not because I wanted to get clients because my prices were lower. It's just I didn't have the skills to sell at the same price they had. As simple as that. And then with time, I increased my prices, and I think I'm in a very competitive threshold. I'm not sure, but I still get business and I still get clients, so I guess it's quite competitive. Because I know my clients also contact other photographers, so some choose me, some don't. And when they don't, I don't know if it's the price a problem. Maybe it's not the price, maybe it is, I don't know. Maybe they don't like my style that much and they prefer another style, or another photographer gives them other stuff that I don't give. I don't know. So this kind of stuff I really don't know, but I do know that my prices are competitive, because otherwise I wouldn't have any business. So since people still contact me and they still hire me, I guess my prices are quite okay, which is important also. Let's see. Okay, I have a question here in the comments. What do you like the most about working on corporate events? Well, it's interesting, because corporate events are sometimes, unfortunately, very boring, very annoying, and they're very static sometimes. Most of the times, corporate events are very static and boring. But the thing is that I find this interesting and I find it very challenging, because how do you take good photos of something boring? And that's a challenge for me. And the challenge of it is what makes me enjoy it even more. So of course, there are some events that are super nice to photograph and they're very dynamic. I've had the chance of taking photos in events happening on the streets, which I love, and that's very nice. But when you have a boring event, I love it. I love it. I really like it, because it means that I can be creative. I need to be creative. I need to stimulate my brain and my creative aspect, my creative self, to make it work. And that helps me. That helps me very much. So corporate events, that's what I like the most. They're boring. They're boring, and I need to be creative. Okay, so I'm seeing. Thank you for your questions and for joining today. I hope you got some value out of this, and I hope that if you're starting your photography business, this is helping you, and it gives you some shed some light on the darkness of creating your own creative business, because it's a challenge as well. And I'm seeing that Instagram is about to shut down my live feed, because I've been talking too much. So I wanted to take this minute that I have left to thank you all for being here, and that I'll be sharing more stuff with you guys in the next days. Through live Instagram sessions if you want, or also my blog. Remember, you can go to my blog on my website, where you can take the time to read what I've written in more detail about what I'm doing, okay? So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Have a beautiful evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are, and take care. Stay safe. These are not times to be joking around. Stay safe. Stay at home. This is very dangerous. All right? Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.